Hi, welcome back to the Crash and Burn podcast. My name's Tim Slagle. I'm the producer of Crash and Burn, and we're doing a short series of podcasts here to advertise the upcoming shows, October 3rd through 7th. Did I get that right? Yeah, who knows?
Sounds right.
And I have with me today one of the guests that I've invited to participate in the 2023 Crash and Burn 12. Please welcome Tommy Ryman.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me be on Crash and Burn. I'm excited.
Oh no, you have been. I was talking to Brian Miller, and he and you are probably the biggest supporters of the Crash and Burn series here at Acme.
Because this is the 12th one, right?
This is number 12.
Yeah, and I think I've seen a majority. I would always like to go at the beginning, like on Tuesday, and try to see the very first one, and then try to come back and see the end. But I saw a majority of them, I think, even when I was flying back and forth from LA. For some reason, I could usually catch it, at least one of them. So it's an amazing project, and I'm excited to be a part of it, finally.
Well, you've always tried to spend at least one night where you came in and would sit down with the comics and give us notes, and it's always been helpful and welcomed.
And then from that, you're like, maybe he shouldn't be on. He needs to write a little more. These are real duds of tags and directions.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
it's the perspective of other comics. I mean, that's the wonderful thing. You're crammed in with 3 other comics for the week, and you get to see how each comic looks at a subject.
Sure. Yeah, and just the different voices. Like that's what was nervous about is you want to help somebody. Obviously they're working on their own, but to be like, can I write in this person's voice, or is this going to be worthwhile, and what are they going to give back to me? But doing comedy, as long as I've done, you see their perspective, or you can find the angle that maybe they weren't looking at, be like, well, try it this way. So I've always enjoyed writing in groups. If you just in general, like I'd sit down with Mary Mack or Brian Miller and stuff and go through things. And
it is helpful. I can't remember who it was. I think it was someone last year that said he had never sat down with other comics before to write. And,
wow!
And it was the first time that he actually saw the value of sitting down with other comics. To go through stuff.
No, it's important.
And which we do every night, and then on Thursday night we will probably do it live here on stage.
Do it live
and let the let the audience throw in a few suggestions.
Yeah.
So how do you write yourself? Do you are you a notebook guy? Do you keep that notebook with you all the time, or are the notes app on your phone? That's what the kids do these days.
Yeah, it's mostly the notes app on my phone, but I do have a old paper notebook that I do. But my writing, it's difficult. I have to work stuff out on stage a lot. Like I don't come a lot with pre-written, so I'll have ideas and it works in my brain, or I'll do like a voice memo. And then I got to hustle and hit mics and talk through stuff is usually how
I've always been that way too. It's much easier to hash it out on stage than to actually write it. It comes out stilted when it's right. It's I would try to write one-liners, and when I did them on stage, it sounded like Jay Leno.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing it sounds forced but.
Hey, how about these electric scooters these kids are riding on now, huh?
That sounds good, though. That one sounds like a good premise. Birds? Why are they called birds? No.
So are you starting to come up with ideas? Are you jotting down ideas? Or are you just going to go in cold Tuesday night?
No, I have been marked ideas, and they're kind of like chunks. Even when I build my new hour, I kind of always, it's a chunk on this, a chunk on this. So I've kind of written premises that I want, like not like a specific joke but just like an idea of this is what I want to go on, or a story about this, and see if I can elaborate, because a lot of my stuff is biographical too. I'm not like a lot of joke writer. So this might be a challenge too, of doing more a topical thing, or just like I'm gonna kind of grab at everything and see if I can flow it or attach things. But
Yeah, what I found is it's really nice to work with at least one person that usually does one-liners in the mix, because I've got these stories that are just stories that maybe there's a punchline at the end, but there's no jokes in the middle.
Right.
And those people who are good on quick on the one-liners are
Yeah.
really nice. Brian Miller, I think, is really good at that.
Yeah. Just the simple punch or tag. And that's how I started, was one line, because when I got into comedy, my big influence was Mitch Hedberg, so that's all he was doing. So when I started comedy, it was pretty absurdist, just one-liner, joke, and then got more into storytelling and then adding those bits in that you don't realize are the small joke.
Did you find yourself actually doing his voice in the beginning?
That's what I got. Yeah, I've talked about it on other podcasts, but I was, and you might have even seen this because you worked with me in like 2006 when I was, but yeah, one of my early jokes I wrote was about adults getting braces. And I was like, I don't know why adults get braces, somebody in their 50s, but it's kind of like they're saying, I don't care what anybody thinks, but I kind of do. And I swear I almost even was like, all right, and then a local comic came up to me and goes, hey man, we already got one of those. Mitch, you got to find your own voice, but
Yeah,
but the joke was
there was I think in Chicago, I counted. I stopped counting at 6. There were 6 6 Mitches in Chicago, and none of them were actually Mitch.
yeah, and that's how I learned comedy. I mean, just the structure of a joke was just listening to his album, set up a twist. That was basically my crash course into comedy. So
it's a way off base here, but have you ever heard the comparison of Mitch and the Ant and the Aardvark?
I don't think so.
The Ant and the Aardvark cartoons? Am I going way too old?
I'm not. I don't know.
The Pink Panther comedy
okay,
hour.
Gotcha.
They had Inspector Clouseau, and they had the Pink Panther, and it was DePath Freeling, I think, who did the cartoons, and they had one segment that was called the Ant and the Aardvark. And the John Biner did both the voices.
Okay.
And he did the Aardvark. He did in the voice of why can't I remember his name? The Jewish comic. I'm having a Mitch McConnell here.
Oh no.
He just died. The famous. Anyway, that was the Aardvark, and the Ant was his impression of Dean Martin.
Okay.
And if you go back, and there's newer Ant and Aardvark cartoons that were not voiced by John Biner doing impressions, but
Interesting.
But if you listen to the Ant, it sounds almost you can almost tell that Mitch grew up watching the Ant and the Aardvark, and the Ant was his hero.
Wow.
So.
And no one ever called him on it. That's crazy. Like, hey man, you're doing the Ant from the Ant and the Aardvark. It's been done, Mitch. It doesn't matter if you have a bassist behind you or not.
Yeah, it's too bad you didn't know that back then. It's like, yeah, well, Mitch is just doing the Ant.
Yeah. I'm actually doing the Ant. I'm not even doing Mitch. Doing the Ant. But were you influenced by anybody? Coming up?
Yeah, probably. I'm probably, but embarrassed to say.
All right.
It's very, very brave of you to be able to admit that you were doing Mitch for the first couple years.
Yeah. But I'm glad somebody told me, though, or just like, hey man, do it in your voice, figure it out. That's how you learn.
No, it's that kind of feedback, and it's important, but it's the feedback that nobody wants to give you.
Yeah. And you don't want to hurt. It's a what? Oh no. But oh well.
So how many crash and burns have you seen?
I mean, it has to be at least 7, or up there, because I was gone for a while, but I feel like I've seen.
Oh, that's right. You moved out for a while, didn't you?
Yes, I was living in California for 5 years, so I might have missed some then. But
and it was the pandemic that brought you back to town.
Yeah, I moved back in 2020 and then bought a house here because I don't know. I didn't need to be based out there anymore, and I can own a house for what I paid for my 2-bedroom apartment in California, and now I have a yard, and I can see my family, and then I can fly out back to those places, New York and L.A.
Uh-huh.
if I need to.
So you weren't trying to get into the auditions and the pilot season out there? Or?
I mean, that's what I was doing. I moved out because my manager was out there, and then he got me a commercial agent, so I was doing that, and then I was doing packets to try to write for shows and stuff like that. But and then again, I would just go out and do stand up. In my brain, I was like, I just want to do stand up. I don't want to I just kind of learned what I wanted to do, and then I never booked any commercials. Got a lot of callbacks. Then moved back to Minneapolis, and then instantly booked a commercial. So I don't know
Minneapolis
how.
Or on L- oh, okay.
In Minneapolis, that aired in Chicago. So I know I'm skilled, but there it'd be hard because you'd go on an audition, once or twice when I'm back in town, and then I'd be back in, you got to stay focused on one thing, at least for me. I was like, I need to, if I want to be a commercial actor, I got to be here months and months going to every audition. But it was kind of more of, which was nice because I wasn't nervous or I got to get this or I can't eat my lunch. So I just had fun and met cool people. But yeah, I was at the Comedy Magic Club a lot, was where I was doing most of my spots, and then going in and pitched one show, a travel show. Then they didn't want that. Then they wanted it a scripted show. And I was like, look, in 10 years, we're all going to be on strike. So I'm just not going to, I'm not even going to try this. I'm just going to get ripped off by the streamers. I was way ahead.
So you SAG-AFTRA?
No, I could have been in SAG because of Through Last Comic Standing and another Nickelodeon. But I was at the board. It was if I got another SAG thing, then I would have had to pay the $3,000 to, and then, and then I was just doing non-union stuff until I got.
Kind of amazing, isn't it? That here you are struggling, and you get to a certain point of struggling, and it's like, oh no, you got to go back. It's almost like a Monopoly game. Go back 3 spaces.
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
It's a forfeit 1 month's rent.
Yeah. But
Jackie Mason, by the way.
There we go. You got it.
That was the hard part.
Good. Edit that in later so it sounds seamless. Like he knew the whole time.
So it's you do find stand up better than performing better than acting. I think most of us.
Yeah, I mean, I was a theater major, and the reason I kind of got into stand-up was because I was not a very good actor. But then I got into stand-up, and then people were like, "You got to act again." It was kind of like the Mitch Hedberg joke about, oh, you write, write a screenplay, you farm, you cook, farm. That one, I really butchered that joke. Edit that out, and Jackie Mason in.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that when you were talking. You're a pretty good cook. How do you farm?
Yeah. Can you farm? So. But yeah, I like the building an hour, going on tour, create more just writing and trying new material. That's my favorite thing about comedy. That's why I'm excited about Crash and Burn is when you have a new bit that you're excited about and feels fresh and you're revitalized as a comic, and then just my tons of Dry Bar fans that flock to all the shows that I do.
Yeah, the Dry Bar's working out for you.
They're yeah. That helped me a lot. That gave me a bump. The first one I did, and then I just did the second one just came out. So, and having the albums on Pandora and Spotify or satellite radio and stuff.
I don't know that they cared for me on Dry Bar. I think I was a little too.
What? No way. I can't see that. You seem like the Mormons would have embraced you, and
I thought they would have, but no, it's a little too mean. Mormons are nice people.
Yeah, but they think
they
that's
they have a bad rap, but they're nice people, and it's no, you're not nice.
Right. Like Tim is a mean man.
I don't know why Dry Bar would have someone so mean.
Bring that Cardigan kid back. He's fun. We can eat candy and watch him.
It's the 20 minutes. What astounds me about the Crash and Burn is that it's amazing how quick all the comics come. Have you noticed that from watching it? That how quickly the comics come up with 20 minutes. I mean, it's in the course of five nights, 7 shows. It always. there's always at least one person that at the end of the week says, "Man, if I could work like this every week."
Yeah, for real. Like just that it's possible and it works. I mean, these people have like solid sets that they add into their normal act when it's not like it's like the audience. I mean, there is a bit of that. They know that it's a thing, but when I watch them at the end, I'm like, nope, that's a 20-minute like solid special or whatever. You know, they don't give you much of the benefit of the doubt that they know it's an exercise in writing. I don't think, but.
Well, by Saturday, a lot of people don't know. A lot of Saturday night is date night. You know, people don't come to the comedy clubs on Saturday because it's a very special show. They come out like, we got to go out on the date night. The wife already booked a babysitter. Where are we gonna go? Yeah,
and then they realize they're watching Chad Daniels do a brand new, amazing 20 minutes that he started writing on Tuesday of that week. It's insane. And just how you build as a comic in general. Like you start here at 3 minutes and just what it takes you to get to that first 45. So if you're doing half of a headliner set in 1 week, I don't know. Comics should be putting specials out every 2 months then. I think we're lazy people, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's I think that aspect is a lot of reason why we got into the business.
Yeah, right? Exactly. I feel like they might be working too hard this Crash and Burn week.
It's 20 minutes. That's 1/3 of a new CD that you're gonna come out with. So you need 2 more Crash and Burns to.
Yeah, I'll be ready.
Put the cap on it. What else did I want to ask you? I should have had a list of questions before I started.
It's fine. Whatever you feel.
It's what do you got coming up?
Well, I just got off of a big spring tour, and then
big spring tour, meaning. Did you name it? Did you do it like that? Did you name it?
No, I was just like going on my new special came out, so I did a bunch of clubs.
The special's called, and the special is
Party or no, Dragon and Waffles is the name of the special. Dragon and Waffles.
Dragon and Waffles.
Yeah, and then the album was Party Troll, was my new album that came out.
And are they both connected, or are they two separate?
They're two. The special is Dry Bar, since they cut the time, it's half of my album. So I technically could do another special, like a 25-minute special, or because the album has just part of that.
For those who do not know, the Dry Bar, it's I don't think we mentioned that. It's in Ogden, Utah.
Yeah.
And they want you exceptionally clean.
Yes.
And was the whole album dry barable?
Yeah, I'm primarily clean, so my album is the full hour clean. But my last 2 albums have been completely clean.
It works better that way. You can get on more stations, I realize.
Yeah, I guess. But I never forced it. I never was like, I'm gonna be so clean. It's just how my brain thinks. I like to get dirty. You can see it if you want. Who knows? Crash and Burn, might experiment with some stuff.
Because when I did Dry Bar, I had to do some editing, and it was stuff I didn't even think I had to edit that I had to edit, but I didn't edit enough.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then there is that because Dry Bar, they're like, there's clean, but then there's Dry Bar clean, so you even have to like, I had a joke about a vacuum that I'm like, it's like a drunk vacuum, and then I just had to change it to a crazy guy. Because they're like, you can't talk about. I mean, I was just like so careful. It was fine. Still worked out.
It's me, and I don't even realize when I go, oh my God. It's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to take that out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my puppies.
It's full of sugar.
Everyone just sounds like an ABC dubbed weird movie.
So that was the Dragon Waffles. Was that the tour, or was that the?
Yeah, that was the newest one, and then I did a bunch of clubs there, and then this summer I've done like once a month. Like I just got back from Medora, North Dakota. I did a theater, and then in the fall I'm going back out to like Michigan, Chicago, a bunch of other places.
Doing the theaters now? Is that you?
I do performance arts like theaters, so they're not they're not like 1,500 people theaters, but they're usually 300 to 400, and then they'll have subscribers usually, so they book like a season of like there's a musician and this and the comedy night. But it's nice because they're kind of a built-in audience, and then I can reach out to my fans in that area and then fill it more if I wasn't able to fill a theater completely on my own. So
that's nice.
It's kind of a good buffer.
That's nice, and then when you're in the theater, I mean, that's it's great to be in a theater because it's okay when you bomb.
Right? Yeah.
It's in a comedy club. If you go 5 seconds without a laugh, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But in a theater, that's just drama.
Yeah.
It's just a moment of drama.
He's building up to something, I think. But
and they're all the sound is always great. They're always pointed in one direction.
Yeah, no, and everybody's usually there for like this is a night out. It's not. I mean, a club too, and I love clubs because that's when I can work on stuff. Like so, the special came out, and then I did a bunch of clubs because then you're doing 2 shows a night, 3 shows in a row. Where a theater, I'll fly in, do the show, and maybe there's a second show, or you're done. So. Here you can kind of work stuff out or start something in the beginning of the week and give it to that Saturday show.
Do you actually have an opener, or do you just do it yourself? Are you at the one-man show?
No, I have a couple openers that I will bring to the theaters, depending on like how long a show they want. Some of them want intermissions too, because they're so used to like we got to sell our concessions. I'm like, all right, they got legs. You can let them know they can walk out and get a new beer. But so I try to do a standard 90-minute show. But there's a bunch of funny comics from Minneapolis. I brought Santa Violet, Jeff Foser, Trevor Anderson was come up at Acme. He just came with me to North Dakota. So yeah, they usually will write it into the budget. So I can have somebody do 15 minutes or even more of a normal comedy, 15, 30, 45-minute show.
Uh-huh. Do you consider it comedy, or is it a one-man show, or is it somewhere in between?
I mean, mine it's just like my stand-up set,
right.
So I'm not doing like there's no theme or anything to the as when I think about like a one-man show or something, but.
Right, where it has beginning, middle, as the whole, almost like a 3-act play.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe all my albums are kind of like that. I've just never thought I'm just so used to the club thing. But it would be fun to do a one man show. So I could go out to like Edinburgh and then be like, this one's called Dads. Like, just make it something real. Like, what is it? I think he just tells goofy stories about his dads, but it looks the font. That sounds important.
Did you say the font?
Yeah, it's all the marketing. You're like, we don't know if he hates his dad or what. That's
a very artistic font. It leaves a lot of questions to be answered.
That Tommy, that was really brilliant. He took his hat off. He really. I directed it. It was wild.
I don't know if you ever heard of Rob Becker defending the caveman.
I don't know. I don't think
it's coming up in the 80s. He was like one of the first people that like took his act and turned it into a one-man show. It was called Defending the Caveman, and it just took off.
Okay,
and there were several. He actually for a while there wasn't even doing it himself. He just had several franchises running.
Whoa!
And he was just getting mailbox money. Yeah.
Wow, that's the best.
And we all, as up and coming comics, struggling driving the 8 hours in the middle of the night for to play in front of a dozen drunks.
Yeah.
All kind of thought that was brilliant, but very few could actually compare to it.
Sure. Well, Dad's is the next one. That's going to be big. I feel like I really got something now.
Anything to promote before we?
I don't know. You could always find me TommyRyman.com. See when I'll be here, which will be October
3rd through 7th, I believe.
3rd through the 7th at Crash and Burn. You can watch my specials on YouTube and Dry Bar, and I got a bunch of albums.
Uh-huh. And Tommy will be there with Liz Mealy and Derek Hughes.
It's going to be amazing.
Should be an interesting mix.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
Thanks a lot for coming by, Tommy.
Thank you.